Dean, 3rd through 5th grade elementary ELA curriculum coordinator in Fort Bend ISD. I'm honored to be reading to you this evening. When I was a little girl, one of my favorite things to do was to read a story with my mom or dad before bed. I'd beg them to read my favorite book, The Little Engine That Could, over and over again. Tonight, I'm going to read to you another one of my favorites, The Country Mouse and the City Mouse. Once, a little mouse who lived in the country invited a little mouse from the city to visit him. When the little city mouse sat down to dinner, he was surprised to find that the country mouse had nothing to eat except for barley and grain. "Really," he said, "you do not live well at all. You should see how I live. I have all sorts of fine things to eat every day. You must come and visit me and see how nice it is to live in the city." The little country mouse was glad to do this, and after a while, he went to the city to visit his friend. The very first place the little city mouse took the country mouse to see was the kitchen cupboard in the house where he lived. There, on the lowest shelf behind some stone jars, stood a big paper bag of brown sugar. The little city mouse gnawed a hole in the bag and invited his friend to nibble for himself. The two little mice nibbled, and the country mouse thought he had never tasted anything so delicious in his life. He was just thinking how lucky the city mouse was when suddenly the door opened with a bang and the cook came in to get some flour. "Run!" whispered the city mouse, and they ran as fast as they could to the little hole where they had come in. The little country mouse was shaking all over when they got safely away, but the little city mouse said, "That is nothing. She will soon go away and we can go back." After the cook had gone away and shut the door, they stole softly back, and this time the city mouse had something new to show the country mouse. He took the little country mouse into a corner on the top shelf where a big jar of dried prunes stood open. After much tugging and pulling, they got a large dried prune out of a jar and onto the shelf and began to nibble at it. This was even better than the brown sugar. The little country mouse liked the taste so much that he could hardly nibble fast enough. But all at once, in the midst of their eating, there came a scratching at the door and a sharp, loud meow. "What is that?" cried the country mouse. The city mouse just whispered, "Shh," and ran as fast as he could into the hole. The country mouse ran after, you may be sure, as fast as he could. As soon as they were out of danger, the city mouse said, "That was the old cat. She's the best mouser around. If she gets you, you are lost." "This is very terrible," said the little country mouse. "Let us not go back there again." "No," said the city mouse. "I will take you to the cellar. There is something very fine in there." So the city mouse took his little friend down to the cellar stairs and into a big cupboard where there were so many shelves. On the shelves were jars of butter and cheeses in bags and out of bags. Overhead hung bunches of sausages, and there were spiced apples in barrels standing about. It smelt so good that it went to the little country mouse's head. He ran along the shelf and nibbled at a cheese here and a bit of butter there until he saw an especially rich, very delicious smelling piece of cheese on a little stand in the corner. He was just on the point of putting his teeth into the cheese when the city mouse saw him. "Stop! Stop!" cried the city mouse. "That is a trap!" The little country mouse stopped and said, "What is a trap?" "That thing is a trap," said the little city mouse. "The minute you touch the cheese with your teeth, something comes down hard on your head." The little country mouse looked at the trap, and he looked at the cheese, and he looked at the little city mouse. "If you'll excuse me," he said, "I think I will go home. I'd rather have barley and grain to eat, in peace and comfort, than to have brown sugar and dried prunes and cheese, and be frightened to death all of the time." So the little country mouse went back to his home, and there he stayed happily all the rest of his life. The end. Boys and girls, I hope you'd enjoy this story. I've truly enjoyed reading it to you. Good night, Fort Bend.